Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Fairmede Hilltop Neighborhood and the Hilltop Community Church. Before we begin, I want to say thank you for coming. I see some neighborhood councils here, some familiar faces. Before we begin, I would like to thank Pastor Loren and the Hilltop Community Church for sharing this beautiful venue with us. I'd like to thank Don Gosney, who is going to be our timekeeper. Mr. Gosney will also be recording this meeting, which can be found on his Don Gosney YouTube page. And the church will also be streaming this to Facebook and Everybody's Richmond. I would like to thank the candidates for taking time out of their busy schedules to show up tonight, and thank the audience and those viewing tonight. Tonight we have our very own Pastor Loren to moderate the forum. The candidates have been briefed on the rules. Pastor Loren will go over them before we begin. And I really want to say that it takes a lot of courage to run for office. And win or lose, you guys deserve respect for giving it a try. So congratulations, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you. Pastor Loren.
All right. Thank you very much, Arto. Good evening to everybody. Thank you for coming. As Arto said, my name is Loren Laumer. I'm the Associate Pastor here at Hilltop Community Church. And on behalf of our Senior Pastor, Jim Hedden, and our congregation, who supports and provides this fantastic facility and all the technology we have to do this, we just want to say thank you to everyone who is being here. I want to thank the candidates that are seeking to be the next Mayor of Richmond. Thank you, guys. We know it takes a lot of effort and time and energy, and we know you guys are all very busy, so thank you for being here. Thank you very much. We hope that whether you're here in this room or whether you're watching tonight, as well as those who may watch later, we hope you can appreciate the time that these candidates have given up to be here tonight and to answer our questions. The candidates have been briefed on tonight's format. But for those that are here and those that are watching, each candidate will be allowed up to 90 seconds for an opening and closing statement. There will be as many as 8 questions asked of each candidate, and they will each have 90 seconds to respond. The order with which the candidates will respond has been determined by the use of a random number generator. The candidates have been advised that no electronic devices are allowed this evening. The candidates will read prepared opening and closing statements, but no other prepared notes. Writing materials have been provided for them so they can take notes. And I encourage you guys to do that. Some of these questions are layered. Each candidate has been provided with the written questions. Before we get to the actual forum, we ask, ladies and gentlemen, that when your time is up, please stop talking so the next person can go. You have a countdown clock that's down in front of you, and timing lights directly in front of you to help you stay on time. Good luck to each and every one of you. As we begin this forum, we will start with opening statements from the candidates. Each of them will be allowed up to 90 seconds, and we are going to let ladies go first this evening. So, Claudia Jimenez, take it away.
Thank you so much for spending this night with us and hearing us. For allowing us to be in this forum, and all the participants here. My name is Claudia Jimenez. I am a city council representing District 6, and I am running for mayor because I believe our city's government has the fundamental responsibility to protect our people and build a future where every family can thrive. I have spent my life working for working families, environmental justice, and economic fairness. I know what it means to build solutions from the ground up, and I have organized in our neighborhood, stood up to corporate polluters, and worked to bring real resources back to our community. In the city of Richmond, I have been leading some of the efforts and in collaboration with organizations and the city council. We stabilized our finances, got out of the predatory loans, and saved millions of dollars that now we can invest. We renovate parks across the city, and I wanted to let you know that this is what the city manager presented to us because we are moving forward. We have invested resources in improving the city, and I am hoping I can have a chance to talk more about that when it's my turn. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Ahmad Anderson.
Good evening. The name is Ahmad Anderson, and I'm running for mayor. Been a resident here for 66 years, but that's just not enough. I believe that leadership requires someone who's going to move with integrity, transparency, and be people-centered, focused around the community. Not that acting about it, but listening to the community, moving forward. You also need to have demonstrated leadership. You have to be able to demonstrate, as I have, bringing jobs here to the city of Richmond, working for UPS, being a member of the Council of Industries, being the workforce planning manager that did training here in this Hilltop community to ensure that Richmond residents were hired first. You need to make sure that people are safe in their communities, protected, respected, and safe. I'm a block captain, working with other block captains throughout the city, talking about what the issues are. How can we make our neighborhoods more safe? Working as a conduit with the police department, educating them around the culture and the history of Richmond, the trauma that's been suffered, but also working to bring the kind of economic development that brings forth not just jobs, but career opportunities and benefits for the city of Richmond. And most importantly, if you're doing all those things, people want to come here to live. You need to have housing, not just affordable housing, but reasonable housing, meeting people at their level. It says that you just need to be a resident, to live here, to run for office. But leadership is not based upon just that. You have to be able to demonstrate that you're able to get along not only with the council members, be able to walk it as you're talking, work with the neighborhood councils, be active with the community throughout the counties.
Sorry, Ahmad, your time is up. You actually, the timer didn't start on time.
So that's not really my fault.
We're trying to keep it fair. But thank you, Ahmad, thank you. Next up we have Eduardo Martinez.
Thank you. My name is Eduardo Martinez. I'm the current mayor running for re-election. So we all know that Richmond is a city that welcomes and supports working families. That's why I never take contributions from corporations or developers. I work for all Richmond residents. For this election, I'm seeking only endorsements from residents, not from organizations, because it's the residents that I want to represent. I taught in Richmond Public Schools for over 20 years as a teacher. I saw my students struggle with high asthma rates from polluted air. I knew that we could do better for our children, so I ran for office. In 2014, I was elected to City Council despite a $3 million Chevron-funded campaign against me. My City Council record showed my values and set your expectations for the kind of mayor I would be. That's why I was elected in my first term, and why I should be elected for my second term. As a council member, I proudly supported raising the minimum wage and strengthening immigrant rights. To decrease pollution in our neighborhoods, I championed the ordinance to phase out the handling of coal in Richmond and insisted on the full cleanup of the AstraZeneca site. I support policies like rent control and just cause eviction, which keep working families in their homes. As mayor, I have assisted the city manager to staff city departments that removes trash, engineer safety highways, and prevent crime.
Thank you. We're going to go to our next person here who, again, this is random, is Mr. Mark Wassberg. Mark?
Well, I was raised in San Pablo, and I worked in Richmond all my life. I worked at the refineries and the factories. Then I went back to work at Chevron for about 5 years and got laid off there, and I got involved with all these reverends and ministers protesting against the violence. Made a Docker mayor and became a film editor. Actually, I had no plans on running for mayor in the first place. When I found out what Eduardo did out there preaching hate and violence against the nation of Israel, went like wildfire. This is why Jimenez is running for mayor, because they're going to split the vote. They want Eduardo out. This is one of the reasons why I'm running. And plus, we have a government right now who's not respecting our constitutional laws, even the Richmond Police Department is signed with the RPA, aiding baiting criminals from the law. This is not what our government is about. When you get in our government and took an oath, you have to obey all constitutional laws. You don't have the right to go out and pass laws and ordinances to support criminals and stop criminals. You need to stop them. But the city council for the last 20 years, the RPA did just that. Stopping police checkpoints, giving illegal fraudulent ID cards, telling the police not to deal with dice. It's been on and on and on, because you have the people that know this is what our city government's about. Sure, we all need health care, we all need clean air, we all need a good place to live, but that's all secondary. The main reason of the government is to obey all constitutional laws.
All right, Mr. Wassberg, thank you very much. One of the rules that we didn't really set out for at the beginning is we'd really like this not to be any kind of personal attacks and that sort of thing. So just laying that out there, let's stick to the issues at hand. All right, but thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, last up, we have Demnlus Johnson III. Go ahead, Demnlus.
Yes, thank you once again to the organizers and the audience, our voters, for coming out and having this important conversation with us. As mentioned, my name is Demnlus Johnson III, and I'm your candidate for Mayor of Richmond, California. I'm a Howard University undergrad, and I also have a master's degree from UC Berkeley's Goldman School of Public Policy. I'm a former city council member, as well as the former vice mayor of Richmond, California. I am the Rooted in Richmond candidate, fighting to improve housing, economic development, and outcomes for all of Richmond, not just a certain few. I look forward to earning your vote for the June 2nd primary, and I look forward to having this conversation with you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, on to our first question. Ahmad, you're going to go first, randomly picked here. The Richmond police reported just yesterday that RPD is still short-staffed. As mayor, how will you address violent crime and also community safety in Richmond when the police department is still short-staffed?
One of the things is not to approach the police from a position as mayor and a leader in the city in an adversarial way. It means working together to protect, to be secure and respected in this community. Staffing is important, but recruiting individuals to work here is difficult when they are chastised for being part of the police department. It's a three-pronged approach. It should be holistic. Defending is not the right step. You need to be able to do as you've been asked to do, meet the minimum staffing of 147. There's 130 presently there. But working with your neighborhood councils, working with your block captains, which I am under the Office of Neighborhood Safety, learning about the trauma that's been impacted here in the city by the police department in history, but educating them, bringing them back to community policing that involves them in the communities, one-on-one, with the neighborhood councils, with the active youth, and preventive measures. As a Youth Service Bureau Director here in the city, I had the opportunity to learn the communities, share that as a conduit with the police department, and educate our community on the value of being protected. And most importantly, as a member of the West County Health Care Program, as a consultant that dealt with Alameda County and Contra Costa, working to deal with mental health issues, working with our county to support those that need it the most, who've been impacted through over the years. It's a collective effort by all.
Thank you, Ahmad. Claudia, I'm going to go to you. I actually didn't get to finish the question. That's okay. Ahmad, you answered it well, but the rest of the question was some candidates emphasize education, others emphasize or prioritize more police officers. What will be your approach, and how do you define public safety? I know there's a lot there.
Yes, a lot. I will try. So it's interesting that you say that yesterday the RPs say that because at the Laurel Park Neighborhood Council last night, Officer Garcia said that crime is down and staffing is looking very good. So somebody is saying different things. What I know is that Chief Simmons is doing a really good job hiring, that there is no mandatory overtime. We are filling the vacancies and we need to continue to do that. For me, the public safety it's a comprehensive approach where we had to have a full staff police department, but we recognize that they cannot answer to all the problems in the city. This is why I have been helping to create the community crisis response program, so those who have a mental health crisis or other non-violence situation can have access to these services and can have some solutions that probably they are more equipped to do that. But also, safety is about having dealing with the unhoused and do unhoused intervention, have the parks clean, have the streets well maintained. It's about how we feel as a community, and it's more than just thinking that the police will resolve every problem in the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Next up, Eduardo.
Yes, the Richmond Police Department is hiring more and more people. The last hiring, they had 7 police officers hired and a jailer. So things are improving. We've also are addressing violent crime by taking a lot of the responsibilities that are non-violent off of the hands of the police so they can focus on the violent crimes, which means that there's more protection around violent crimes because that's what the police can focus on. I know that ROC has been doing a fantastic job of dealing with neighborhood issues that could turn out to be violent, but they're dealt with passion and kindness. And then we have the ONS, which also helps reduce gun violence. So it's a 3-pronged approach that addresses neighborhood safety, but we also need to increase public recreation so that our young people have a place to go, have things to do, make sure that our parks are welcoming so that we can all go there as families and enjoy time together. And then, of course, our senior centers where our seniors like to gather to play pool, dominoes, and chess, and put puzzles together.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Demnlus.
Yes. As mayor, if the issue of violent short staff came up and we were short staffed, violent crimes for me would come first. I don't want Richmond to have the same issue that we saw with Oakland, where people were not having their 911 calls answered or not having the police show up. So that would automatically take precedent for me. I know we talk about like how the murder rate has went down, but we can't talk about crime going down while people's persons are being robbed and others' persons are being raped. So for me, these type of personal crimes, they take precedent because for me, public safety is defined as free from physical, mental, emotional, and harm of all kinds. And so that's why I believe in a holistic approach, making sure that we have a fully staffed police department, not minimum. I feel like for too long in the city of Richmond, we've been given a minimum and been told to celebrate it. That's no longer going to happen when I'm your mayor. Also, ensuring that ONS, ROC, and other services coordinating through the county to help with homelessness are there to take care of those issues so that way the police can focus on police matters. As I mentioned, we most definitely want to make sure that our police department is fully staffed, not just the minimum, continue to work across various departments such as ROC, ONS, and even bringing in and coordinating with the county and other regional agencies to make sure that we are not just tackling some of these issues on our own, but from a regional perspective, especially like some of those flash robberies and things that we saw happen. Also, the last approach is taking the same approach that Mayor Brandon Scott took in Baltimore, increasing the community center hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wassberg.
Well, we know in 2020, the Richmond City Council defunded the police out of hate. When all this burning, when the BLM was burning down America, just about every democratic city in the United States was defunding the police. And Richmond was spearheading the whole thing. This is why you have no police. This is why you have so much crime. Crime is up. Carjackings, shootings, beatings, theft. It's all up, especially inside the Iron Triangle, North Richmond, and the South Side. But if I'm mayor, this is not going to happen. What we need a massive job training program for the young people. These people are committing the crimes of between 16 to 30. We need an all-out job training program. We need mentors. We need to tell these kids, you have a future instead of going to jail. But see, this is the problem is the city council that's doing this. They did not want those police that was found not guilty, they didn't want them to come back. Right now you have a city council that hates the police. It's been going like that for almost 10 years now. If I'm there, that's not going to happen, I'll guarantee it. If I have to file a lawsuit against my own city, I'll do it. But like I said, you gotta have people know they have a future. All right? You know, parks, all this stuff, that's not gonna do any good. You're gonna have to work with these young kids to get them into job training programs, get them educated.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, our next question, and as soon as I read this, we'll start with Claudia. What is your strategy to reduce homelessness while approaching the issue with compassion, ensuring public safety, and the quality of life for everybody here?
Thank you. We have been, since I got there, we have been funding and putting on the budget almost $2 million to increase the services of the house, because we know that the county services are not enough. And I cannot go to my residents and they are talking about this and I say, well, it's the county program. So we have put in that money. SOS as a daily center that is working well. Actually, I'm going to do a visit, and you want also do a visit to that daily center. But we put 40.5 million with some grant from Key to create, to transform the Motel 6 in 48 supporting houses unit for chronically homeless individuals and on-site support. And I think that is a way that we, in combination with grants from the state and with the county and the city, to have resources to really create dignity for those unhoused residents who need also more support. So we are doing that with this one, but I feel like this is one of the examples of what we can do to make sure that people have a place to stay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Next up, Ahmad, how would you answer that question?
There are at least maybe 1,000 people daily unhoused in our city of Richmond. Housing unhoused individuals are different levels. Some are skilled, some are unskilled. Some are living in their cars. Some are house surfing, couch surfing, if you will. The recent mention about the hotel is $3,000 per unit. You can build up from the ground up affordable housing at $5,000, $500,000 to $800,000. Are we making the correct motions to put together a strategy versus just a off-the-cuff mood to be able to satisfy people who need that type of dignity and respect and services? I've spent some time in San Jose with Matt May and the mayor there. They set a goal that they would reduce it by 1/3% by the end of the year. Where are our statistics? Are we doing the things that make sure that we are meeting people at their level? Not affordable housing, but reasonable housing. I'm on the fair housing advocate for Northern California. We not only protect the renters, but we talk about increasing housing from the standpoint that will meet the deficit, that by 2050, we have folks that are respected in homes, whether you're unhoused or housed, you'll be able to live, eat, work, and play in this community, not by affordability, but that it's reasonable. That's our role and responsibility.
Thank you. Eduardo Martinez, your answer to the homelessness issue?
Yes, thank you. People are homeless for a variety of reasons. When I helped vacate the Ryden Road encampment, we did that by going from resident of the homeless encampment to resident of the homeless encampment to ask them, how did you get here? what do you need to lead? And the stories were so diverse that each one of them needed a totally different program. So we did our best to offer them what they needed. And some of them had families to go back to. Some of them had enough money to rent a place. They just needed the money to make the down payment. And some of them had emotional and drug problems, and they needed more care than the others. So we have to make sure that we can provide what is needed for each individual to make it in the society that we are asking them to be a part of. So it's a major problem, and I think that the hotel that we've done is taking care of a large portion of them, which are the people who have drug problems and emotional problems.
Thank you very much, Eduardo. Next up, Mr. Wassberg.
Well, I see these homeless people every day. They're smoking, they're living on the sidewalks, smoking crack, urinating, leaving their feces everywhere. Some of these people are not going to do nothing. That's all they want to do. Now, they're going to live at Motel 6 for probably the next 20, 30 years. They're building another little tiny town where people are going to live for free. At Riders Road, they lived there for almost a year and a half, violating all the laws. And this is what the city council allowed. If a person wants to help himself, there's help out there. If you want to live in a shelter, if you want to live in Motel 6, you're going to have to go out and get a job training program. You're going to have to help yourself. If not, there's not much we could do, because you can't force the people to go out and get a job and get educated. Most of these people are not going to do it. That's how they want to live. I know I was homeless for 13 years. I know how these people operate. There's help out there if you want to help. Get help, but these people are not going to do it. So what do you do with them? That's what I'd like to know. You got to bring in professionals. You got to evaluate these people. Say, what's your problem? Why'd you come here? You got a drug problem? Okay, we'll help you. If they don't want to help, fine. Throw them back on the street, throw them in jail, send them money, give them ship them out of town. You're going to have to do something with them. Send them to jail. What are you going to do with them when the person does not want to do nothing? All he wants to do is get drunk and smoke crack and be homeless. So what do you do with them? See, that's the problem Richmond is having.
Thank you. Next up, Demnlus Johnson.
Yeah, this issue is very near and dear to me because I actually have family members who are homeless here in the city of Richmond. Despite our family's best efforts, they still remain so. It is a multitude of different reasons why people are homeless. We need safe parking for those who are living in their cars. We need more youth shelters for those young people who are pushed out of their homes for various reasons. We have to work with the county to increase the number of beds here in Richmond, so that way when we finally do update our camping ordinance, because I do believe in updating our camping ordinance, we can remove people from the streets with dignity. You do not have a right to sleep on the street. You do not have a right to sleep in front of the Social Security building and expose yourself to young ladies as they walk to and from public transportation. You don't have that right. And you don't have the right to defecate and urinate in our waterways. But you do have a right to human dignity. So we are going to make sure that we address substance abuse, mental health, maybe even potentially build a transitional village in partnership with the county, because despite what you heard today, the county has excellent services. As a former employee of the county, through Supervisor Federal Governor's Office, I saw how the county would respond immediately to encampments, and how cities were able to have their own crew dedicated to their city. So what we need is not only these services, but we need a mayor who understands the services that are out there and don't just go off talking out the side of their neck saying what they think instead of what they know. Because these are serious issues.
Thank you. Next question, question number 3. And we'll begin with Ahmad. What is your plan to increase housing affordability and supply without displacing existing residents, especially renters and working families?
In Bay Area 2050, since working trends have changed, meaning that more folks are living at home, working from home, we've not put in the infrastructure or met the demand based on the grand jury, to have 4,000 homes here by 2035. We only have permitted 400. That's 9 or 10% of what needs to be accomplished. 2035 is here already. We have not taken the steps to evaluate what it takes to improve our permitting system, but we also are not looking at how we can expand housing so it is not just affordable, but reasonable housing. As I mentioned, as a member of the Board of Fair Housing for Advocates for Northern California, we protect not only the renters, but we also hold landlord folks accountable. There's been some statement by the mayor about vacancy tax rate. He tells that it's in progress. People in hell need ice water right now and they need housing. It's not a privilege, it's a right. I would work to expand that because it's not just a city problem, it's a regional problem. You talk about unhoused, if you want to be respectful, you don't ask them how they got here or where you come from. That's not empathetic leadership. You need to step up and step in, work with the county, provide those wraparound services, just like Oakland said, the time is ticking, the time is up, we need new leadership and we need it now.
Demnlus Johnson.
Yes. Well, as you guys have probably heard, if you heard me before answering this question, I believe in folding the design review board responsibilities back into the planning commission. It is not something that is mandated by the charter, and they can barely get a quorum to meet, which is holding up projects here in the city of Richmond. You have to go to design review, then planning, and God forbid you get denied by either one of those, then you have to go to city council. That right there is a convoluted process. And it makes it easier for individuals to throw in what they want and not what the city and the residents want. I think the Hilltop community has seen that a few times. Also, we have to work with investors to close those gaps that we have in funding. Investors that align with our values. What a lot of people don't talk about is how Maynard Jackson, the former mayor of Atlanta, went out and got those foreign investors, those African investors, those local investors, and got people interested in housing projects, development projects. And we need a mayor that's just as bold and just as aggressive, and I'm ready to be that for the city of Richmond. We also have to look at non-traditional ways of building. We keep talking about the cost of building, and we're talking about traditional costs. We keep going with old ideas, we're going to get old results. We need to be looking at modular housing, container housing, things that we can do with prefab building, things that come in under budget and half the time. These are the conversations that we have to have. We also have to work with WCCSD to build teacher housing. Don Gosney is on the board with, talking about their surplus property. Why isn't our city council members on those boards as well talking about the surplus property and how we can increase teacher housing and maybe even first responder housing?
Okay, thank you, Demnlus. Eduardo.
But yes, it was mentioned that I'm interested in passing a vacancy tax. The vacancy tax would create a fund to help owners of vacant properties to activate their empty lots. We have tons of empty lots that could provide housing. One of the major problems is that most developers don't want to build fourplexes or duplexes. They want to do major constructions, and there's not many places where that can happen without, in places where housing should be. We have a development that's going to happen on a toxic site. And that toxic site would not allow schools, would not allow daycare. It just amazes me that we can conceive of families with babies having their kids stay there overnight when we can't even have a daycare there. So the idea of this place is to have the cap be the infrastructure. So if we had an earthquake and the infrastructure cracked, how would that be repaired? Anyway, we need to be thankful or thoughtful.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Next up, Claudia Jimenez.
Yeah, thank you. As a member of the McDonald Avenue Task Force, I think that is one of the pilot projects and the spaces where we can really develop a plan for housing and bring the developers, but no, them telling us what to do, but we have a plan and we are really We need different financial mechanisms. Building a unit in the Bay Area costs approximately $1 million. So we are trying to come up with ideas and investors that can do that, lenders like the AFL-CIO, a Housing Investment Trust, that is interested in coming here and provide some lending if we put the plan. So we are working on that. I think like Hilltop already have a plan. We need to start moving in that plan that reflects what the community wants. So it's more about how we really want to put together financing mechanisms, because right now what they want to build in Richmond is single-family homes, and we need more than that. But also creating a housing department. We had just 1 or 2 staff members in the housing, so if we really want to be aggressive about building more houses, we need to have an adequate staffing and a housing department that really brings all these projects to life.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Mark Wassberg?
Well, to live here in the Bay Area, you got to be making at least $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. If you want to rent a house, you got to have 2 people working making $50,000 a year. That's just the way it is. Now, I'd like to see a program where we could build some housing, affordable housing, where you pay on your income. All right? And you don't want to work in McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken all your life, because you're not going to get anywhere. I keep telling these people you need to get into college and get yourself a good trade. Then you'll be able to afford a place to live. See, this is how this is how it works. But the problem is developers don't want to come in here because you have the city council tell them what to build. Oh, we want this way. We want this way. And they're not going to make no money. It costs money to build these units, and they have to make a profit to pay their bills. I mean, Richmond has a lot of land. We can build tons of affordable housing. But my plan is you pay on your income, but because the problem, you cannot have all housing on your income. You know, people want to have a 2-3 bedroom house. They want to raise a family. And in that case, you better be making $50,000, $60,000 a year, both of you people. You see what I'm saying? But we can do it, but it's the city council that's fighting the developers. You can set up committees, you can do this, you do that, but the bottom line is something has to be done.
Thank you, Mark. And just so you know, you're going to start the next question. You get a little bit of a rest because there's a little bit of a link to this. If you have the questions in front of you, candidates, I encourage you to look at this. This is question number 4. The planning department recently presented a plan to the city council for their consideration for the future development of the old Hilltop Mall property. And yes, all of us up here in Hilltop are very interested in this question. The proposed housing plan has a higher density than the new owners of Hilltop Mall and surrounding neighbors want. What kind of development do you see for the old Hilltop Mall site? And when you work with the neighborhood councils and Prologis, the current owner of Hilltop Mall, if it meant you had to compromise? Mr. Wassberg.
Well, I'm willing to work with anybody if we could do something with Hilltop Mall. But there was a plan, I think, there was a plan already that there was going to build stores and housing and all this other stuff, what I can understand, but it didn't go through. I mean, what are they going to do with it? You're going to end up tearing the whole thing down and go ahead and rebuild everything? It's probably going to cost almost $1 billion to do. So maybe we can convert it into businesses, convert some to businesses, but I want to see the store still there. I don't want to see the store go away, all right? But we know we can put housing there, we can put businesses there, but don't put no, pennies or anything like that, because then just went out of business anyway because of online shopping. But we can get together with developers and figure out what we need to do and work with the planning commission. Do we want to have businesses? Do we want to have homes? Because like I said, AC traffic goes right out in front. It'd be nice when you could just walk out of your place, go to the store, catch the bus, go to work. I mean, where I live at, it only takes me about 5 minutes to go to the store, go to the bus, and take Mark. See, that's what I like to see. But the question is, when are you gonna do this big, massive piece of concrete that's sitting there? Something's gonna have to be done, right? But I would like to see the community figure out what we need to do.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Ahmad Anderson, your thoughts on this?
Sure. You know, we were just talking about the obstacles. The obstacles are the way our leadership thinks. You know, what we should be thinking about is how we bring forth a community that can eat, live, work, and play. We need a hospital in this community. We should build a hospital here that works for not only the city of Richmond, but the region. It provides jobs and training for our Contra Costa nursing program, providing hours, working with UCSF to expand that as well, bringing a quality grocery store to this area so we don't have a food disparity, making sure we have quality jobs that are union, that are hired Richmond first. I've been endorsed by buildings and trades in this community. You have to build partnerships and relationships. That's the reason it stalls. I remember the mayor being here in 2022 telling the city he would be determining what grows here. The city had already spoken. The community here does not want density. They want mixed use. They want mixed use here in this area. What would also be helpful to providing an opportunity would building a trade school here, where you just don't have technology, that you just don't have trades, but you have also healthcare as well, making this a focal point that brings in tax revenue, and then build homes and houses around that for long-term care, to be able to include the community, where, again, you can eat, work, live, and play in harmony.
Thank you. Demnlus?
Yeah, I find it hilarious that we often talk about community input until that input isn't what folks want to hear.
Right.
Then all of a sudden we know what's best. This needs to be, it's a community-centered vision. The folks of Hilltop, the people who have to deal with the traffic, the folks who have to travel outside of the Hilltop area, they are the ones who dictates what it looks like up here in partnership with Prologis. And to my understanding, that has happened on a number of occasions, but those meetings and those results of those meetings have not been honored. And I want to let you know, as your mayor, when the community comes up with a plan and the developer compromises with the community on a plan, that's the plan we're going to go with. Not the plan that someone on the other side of town who does not represent your district think you should have in your district, or you should put in your district, when they haven't even put together a fully comprehensive vision for their own district. So for me, it's quite simple. Compromise is how we move things forward, get this project out of the muck and the mire, and push the vision of those who live in this area. We have to want to pull dollars from the surrounding areas, in addition to taking care of Hilltop residents. As Ahmad mentioned, we want to be a regional destination here in Hilltop, like we once were with the mall. There are people as far as Southern California asking what had happened to Hilltop Mall. So people are looking for this regional destination to come back, and I really do believe that with the community's vision and the compromise with the developer, that can happen.
Thank you very much, Demnlus. Eduardo Martinez.
Yes, I'd like to start off by asking people not to put words in my mouth. Several times people have stated that I've said one thing or another completely false, so I would appreciate it if people not do that. What I have said is that Hilltop Mall should become a destination. It should become a destination this is my view, and I'm open to compromise, I'm open to listen, and I've been here many times to discuss the ideas that I have. But they are ideas, they're wishes, they're dreams, they're not dictates. And I understand that the community has a big voice in what happens here. But sometimes we have the issue of NIMBYism, where people in communities don't want this or want that without taking in the needs of the entire city. So that's what we need to keep in mind. It's like Demnlus said, it's a compromise. We listen to everyone and come up with the best solution. One thing that I do think we need to do is to make sure that whatever plan we have, we allow for a BART to be brought in to Hilltop. And it should also connect the Contra Costa College with that. So some sort of public transportation.
All right, understood. Next up, Claudia.
Yeah, thank you. I think I agree we need to put the community first, not the developers, because if we put the developers, we ended up with projects like the AstraZeneca building housing in a really toxic land. So I think like the community first. The community has been meeting, and I believe what the community wants is housing, small business, retail, activities for them to do, a grocery, all of these amenities to be able to have an area that is vibrant, right? I think like what we are, I see that there is going to be some negotiation about the density of housing. And I see that this is something that we will need to have some ideas on what the community wants and what is needed in terms of housing, right? Because as we said, we have a problem of needing more housing so that we can have more revenue, but have more, like people don't live here and have opportunities to be living here. And I think that is a conversation that I want to have with all of you, because I believe that we can get in a space where everybody wins in this development. For sure, Richmond will win.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we're on to question number 5, and after I read this, Demnlus, you're going to go first. The city recently negotiated a $550 million settlement with Chevron over 10 years, approximately $50 million per year, with the first installment already received and intended for communities harmed by pollution. How would you prioritize allocation of these funds? What are your top 3 investment areas, and explain, if you can, how you would ensure measurable outcomes, transparency, and community input?
Yes, top three goals. Number 1, increasing monitoring of the highly polluted areas, making sure that those areas who this settlement's back really was won on, that we actually address the issue that was at the bottom of this entire lawsuit, right? Making sure that we give our environmental manager real teeth to go after the polluters in our area and hold them accountable. Also helping families who need help with asthma treatments or breathing treatments, so that way individuals who are struggling with health coverage aren't having to struggle with that in a city that got $550 million for their kid having asthma. I think that's robbery at that point. Also, we have to take a good look at the infrastructure and what's going into capital improvement projects in these areas. A lot of times we talk about how there's a funding gap, or how, some things just don't have it just doesn't pencil out when it comes to North, South, Central, Parchester Village, and how sometimes, we don't have the money. Can we finally have a plan to come up, to use some of these dollars? And also, I do believe in using some of the funds to take care of our pension obligations. It's just smart business. We got to free up that, $33 million a year at this point? So yeah, we got to do smart business. And in terms of transparency and community input, I believe in making sure, I went to Howard University where C.D. Verbeau was the president. He made sure that you can follow every dollar on the website. And I want to do that with the city of Richmond. I want you to be able to follow from the time the check is cashed to the time the check is spent.
All right, thank you. Thank you, sir. Ahmad Anderson?
Yeah, I'd say, first of all, that came up in the last election. We got $550 million. Why didn't we tell the public or bring the public together at that particular point and talk about a strategy, not just a tactic to win the election with those folks that were supporting that? We got the money, so what now? What? Where is the work? Where is the work that speaks to the healthcare policies, that talk about the emissions, that talks about the polluters, that talks about the impact from Point Richmond to Parchester, and not just that, regionally across this West County? Where is the conversation about healthcare? Never heard that, yet we still don't have a hospital. The mayor talked about dreams and wishes. Nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. You need to wake up and step in. That's why we have that many people running, and even somebody who comes from the same party. The leadership needs to change. We need to be able to address the issues from putting a hospital here that will talk about West County from the perspective of providing a healthcare facility. Looking at the infrastructure, taking care of the flooding that's been flooding in Parkchester since I was born here. Taking care of the south side. You talk about beautification. You don't see the same beautification in Point Richmond that you see in the south side. You have weeds taller than some toddlers. We need to provide staffing. When you have a public health issue, it means keeping people protected, safe, and respected. It means fair housing. It means jobs. It means being here in this role, taking care of the people in your charge. That's what leadership looks like.
Thank you very much. Eduardo.
Yes, when we talk about the $50 million, we have to take into account that the $50 million isn't a separate account. It is part of the general fund. And instead of just looking at the $50 million, we need to be looking at the entire general fund. All of the things that Mr. Anderson mentioned comes from the general fund. And he's talking as if all the things he mentioned should be coming from the 50 million. Well, it shouldn't be coming just from the 50 million. It should be coming from the entire general fund. And once we stop separating the 50 million from the rest of the general fund, we're going to be arguing about what we should do with the money. The city council voted for goals and objectives. Those goals and objectives do include a lot of the things that were mentioned. So instead of talking about the $50 million for particular things, we need to be talking about the entire general fund. Let's stop dividing our budget, dividing the community with different sentiments. We need to work together as one city, one Richmond, and address all of our needs together.
Okay, thank you. Claudia Jimenez?
Yeah, this council and I was part of the negotiation that brought $550 million. Tell me if this is not good for the community. I think this is essential, and we need to make sure that we include the community in how we are going to spend, because there is a lot of needs in these communities. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we are smart about how we do investments, so we can extend the loan of the 10 years for more. And money can be money. And I am happy that I put an item on the agenda to look at the paying the unfunded liability, and we are looking into that to see if this is a good investment or not. We also must address decades of underinvestment, repairing parks, streets, and vital infrastructure, while supporting programs that help people thrive, small business grow, and families afford to stay in Richmond. So we have to combine community needs and a smart investment that we can have an infrastructure, a goal to reduce the dependency from Chevron to a green economy. And that is an opportunity that we have with this money in these 10 years. But at the same time, we know that there are some underinvestment in these communities, and we need to show that. So we need to invest in parks and in infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Wassberg?
There's been a lot of talk that Chevron gave people asthma. That's a bunch of lies. There's not one report that Chevron did anything like that. $500 million was donated to the city. If you don't believe me, Google it. The city council did not have anything to do with negotiations because it was going to go on the ballot as a polluter. So Chevron offered to give the money to them. And they still want to close Chevron down. See, they have some idea that they're going to create all these small green jobs to put Chevron out of business. You put Chevron out of business, I'll guarantee you Richmond will fall just like Benicia. They're raising sales tax, property tax. Chevron built Richmond, all right? And you're going to have to realize something. When Chevron goes, that's it for the city. No green jobs are going to take the place of Chevron. I said, you got people out there making 50, 60, 70, almost over $100,000 a year, even more. When I worked out there, I was making $1,400 a week. Where's that you gonna find that in a small business or a green job? It's not gonna happen. Green jobs don't pay that money. And I can see how in the world you guys can fall for it. Just like I told you, look at Benicia. They're hurting. They lost 30% of their revenue because they closed it down. Now all the citizens are worried about because their property taxes are going to skyrocket. Now you got the politicians lying to them.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to head into question number 6, and the random generator picked you, Demnlus, to go again to start this one. There's kind of a lot to this question. So again, I ask if you have the question in front of you, you might want to take a look at it as I read it. Over the decades, Chevron has poured millions upon millions of dollars into Richmond programs to help our community and local nonprofits. There are city council members and local political groups that are pushing Chevron to leave the city of Richmond. What would you do as mayor to prepare the city in the event Chevron left Richmond? With this month's closing of the Valero refinery in Benicia, Benicia finds itself scrambling to find the funds to keep the city running. With more than a quarter of Richmond's general fund coming from Chevron taxes, what is your plan?
Yes, thank you for that question. And I know we talk a lot about Benicia, but then there's also Detroit after the auto industry, which is, I think, a much more in-depth example for us to use here. And my goal as mayor would be for Chevron not to leave, would be to help them be a part of the just transition so they can become a part of the green economy and we can maintain them here in this space. Also, we need to diversify our income streams. If you've been to a forum before, you've probably heard me say, this before. Our main 3 ways of making money as a city is through property taxes, business taxes, and utility users taxes. I say that often because I understand how the city works. Also, with that, I haven't figured out how to get money from Netflix, short of getting them to move to Richmond, which I will try. But we have to increase business taxes by increasing the number of businesses that we have in our business corridors, downtown, uptown, Hilltop, San Pablo Ave, Mayoral, 23rd Street, and others. We also have to bring in those large-scale manufacturing jobs as well here to the city of Richmond. We have 6 areas ready for green manufacturing, like the 2 current members on the board are speaking of, but they don't want to come because the 2 current members on the board are on the board. Also, property taxes. We have to increase the number of houses that we have for sale here in the city of Richmond. Despite what my opponent said, people do want single-family homes. Not everybody wants to rent an apartment for the rest of their life. Some of us want to build generational wealth like herself, who owns a single-family home with an ADU, so why should the rest of us?
Thank you. Claudia Jimenez?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think part of what we were thinking about to have, and it wasn't a lawsuit, that settlement, is to have enough time with that money to start investing and being prepared if Chevron reduces the production or happen like Benicia. We don't want to be Benicia. So we have this opportunity in these 10 years with this $550 million to start thinking in what are the right investment that do return of investment to the city and move the needle from being so dependent on Chevron to not be dependent on Chevron. It's all our responsibility to have a plan, and we have right now the money to start thinking about that. Before we didn't. So now we have the money to start doing that. And I feel like we have been talking about the port. We need to have bold investment in modernizing the port so we can attract the green businesses that can create the jobs, that can create the opportunities that we need. Also, we have the McDonald corridor. I am really excited about that because that is also an opportunity to expand and create more businesses. Small businesses are important in our community and we need to make sure that they are staying and we have more. Thank you.
Thank you. Eduardo Martinez?
Yes, the conversation around Chevron leaving isn't to force Chevron out of the city of Richmond. It's to make plans for when Chevron will leave the city of Richmond. We know that the petrochemical industry is declining. There will be a time when there will be no petrochemical industry. So we need to look far into the future and make sure that we are ready to stand on our own. And that's what we're trying to do by diversifying our economy. I had hoped that the city of Richmond could use its port to be part of the nascent offshore wind industry. Before I became mayor, we weren't even on the radar. Since I've been a mayor, several developers have come to the port and have suggested that they should be the ones who work with Richmond on the offshore wind industry. We have begun looking at our port, figuring out how we can take care of delayed maintenance and rebuild it to several levels that will take several types of industry. So we've also attracted a lot of battery and development and industries. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Mark Wassberg?
You lose Chevron, you lose the city. Simple. Chevron pays up to 30% of the budget. Look at Benicia. They're crying right now because they did it to themselves. Now the tax is going to go up. Now the people are complaining about sales tax, property tax. This world will never do without oil. Once you stop oil, the entire world will come to a complete standstill. It's over. And you people are going to have to realize that. He talks about all these green jobs and he's buying, he has a gasoline car. Okay? Now, you know, you'll never have a job that's going to place of Chevron. The ports are not going to do it. The green jobs are not going to do it. You show me one green job that you're going to make $100,000 a year, all the overtime you can. You show me where you can retire out of a green job. There is no green job that you can do that. On and on and on, the city wants Chevron out. And they got some dumb idea that they're going to end up having all electric cars, electric airplanes, electric this, electric that. That ain't going to happen. You do more harm to the environment by digging up this stuff for battery electric cars. All right? So you people are going to have to realize something. Once the oil stops, the world stops.
Thank you very much. Ahmad Anderson.
The threat of Chevron leaving is nothing new. Since 2006, there's been pressure from the leadership on this council to eliminate Chevron. But they put forth a Measure U in 2022 that was supposed to increase the business tax. But that business tax was supposed to be branding what we had here as a business in the city, advocating to improve and retain the businesses, networking throughout the region to invite folks who want to come and bring the manufacturers here in this community, and then being a conduit to do that. We don't have that type of leadership. The mayor's been here for 12 years and he's now just talking about increasing revenue and what we should do. That windmill is just going to smoke and wind in our face. The reality is that we have revenue streams. We have it here in Hilltop. I mentioned what we should be able to bring here in order to increase the revenue, to increase jobs and opportunities and benefits for working families. We have the port to energize that, diversify the area. We need the type of port director and supported the port director like Danny Wan, who's a friend of mine, who was with the Oakland Port. We need to also talk about what we can do with the marina to make that a destination. In fact, using Port Malawi to look like a Presidio, where you can have jobs and opportunity and food and housing in this community. They need to get over the South and get out the way, develop relationships throughout the community Bay Area, work with folks who supported me, Senator Arguin and Buffy Wiggs, who have a plan and a strategy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you. All right, we're going to head into question number 7. This kind of flows out of the last question. We will start with Claudia Jimenez. And there's a lot here. So Richmond has relied on Chevron, as a major. Let me just start it. Richmond has relied on Chevron as a major revenue source. What is your plan to reduce the city's fiscal dependence on a single corporation while maintaining stable funding for essential services? Taking Measure U into consideration, how would you, as mayor, promote broader economic development? I feel that for people who are watching online and people in the room, they need to understand what Measure U is. Measure U was passed in 2020 by the people of Richmond, and it taxes businesses on a percentage of their gross receipts, their total revenue. Before Measure U, businesses paid a base fee and a rate on their employees. So, restating the question, taking Measure U into consideration, how would you as mayor promote broader economic development? Would you propose any changes to Measure U? With the limited time we have provided for your responses, please tell us what steps you would take to financially prepare the city if Chevron were to leave. Take it away, Claudia Jimenez.
Yeah, it's interesting because since 2018, Progressives have put measures in the ballot that I have been supporting that have brought an increased 50% the general fund since 2018. A Measure U was a big thing. It brings $12 million to the city every year, while doing it for small businesses paying less than the ones who make more money. That is a progressive measure, and no businesses left because of that.
What?
So you mentioned what we will do. Well, we are starting doing that by making Chevron to pay $550 million and then have the money to think about how we can invest that money to start making sure that we are moving the needle of that dependency that is 24% in the general fund from Chevron to reduce it and diversify the revenue that we have. As I said, now we have the money to start thinking about how we can invest it and extend that money longer than 10 years so we have more money to start doing the work of increasing revenue for the city of Richmond.
Okay, thank you very much. Ahmad Anderson.
Well, I've already spoken to you already about Measure U and what that should be to broaden the scope of business here. At the time, as was mentioned by friend and councilperson Claudia, that business did not leave. I'd like to see the stats for that because that's not correct. In fact, not only did we lose it, but we weren't able to address and attract more businesses. And this is why we suffer from a tax revenue perspective. We have the opportunity to build on those areas that I've talked about, from Hilltop, we all talked to McDonald's, we talked about the marina, we talked about Point Melania. But if your city is not safe, which is the #1 issue, folks won't want to come here. Folks won't want to build their businesses here. Yes, we've decreased the murder rate, but we have commercial property issues. We have the rape. We have the illegal trafficking on 23rd Street. Those areas are the areas that we need to improve our services there. We still don't take care of the potholes in this area, the bread and butter things. So if we're talking about investments, if we're talking about revenue, we need to invest in the things that we have here. But you need leadership to step up and do so. We've not got an active perspective, but we've got a lot of numbers and fancy pamphlets that look good but have empty promises. You need to be able to see what the status is. You need to be able to feel safe here, and you need to see the progress. I'd say you don't see the progress in any zip code in this city.
Thank you. Eduardo Martinez?
Yes, once again, we have someone who says that there has been no businesses brought to Richmond. We had Moxion, we brought Levity, we just brought OpenAI. There are lots of businesses that come to Richmond. I know because I've promoted them. He mentions his friend Danny Wan. I brought Danny Wan to the city of Richmond to be part of our port. So it is not as if I haven't done anything, that the city of Richmond has not improved, because we have improved. We put up solar lights up and down Cutting Boulevard. Carlson Boulevard. We put lights on the overpass from Pennsylvania to Rumrill. And there's lots of developments and there's a lot of potholes that have been filled. Over 980 potholes have been filled. So it's not as if we've not done anything anywhere. And it's been insinuated that I've been mayor for 18 years. So I haven't been mayor for 18 years. I've been a council member, and anyone who has been on the council, such as Mr. Johnson, knows that there is a major difference between mayor and being a council member. This is one of the reasons why we're all running for mayor, because we know what it takes to be a mayor, and we know what a mayor can do.
Okay, thank you. Mark Wassberg?
Well, the purpose for Measure U was to tax the Hades out of the big businesses so they could pay for their welfare programs, to pay for all the homeless shelters. You people don't know that, but it's true. Now, the dealership sued the city over Measure U because that was the dealerships were all tipped off because they had to pay the high taxes. See, this is, no matter if you have a small business, a medium-sized business, or a large business, the city needs revenue. But see, these big businesses are not coming in because of the higher taxes. This is why. But according to the city council, they think that these small businesses are going to take the place of Chevron. It's not going to happen. You understand? This is how the economy works. Like I say, the city needs revenue. I don't care if you have a small business or whatever, they need money, all right? But see, with all the money we're getting from Chevron, we can make adjustments to Measure U to bring in businesses. But I'd like to see more big businesses coming in, not these little green jobs. I mean, he talked about all these jobs. Well, how much these jobs are going to pay? See, you haven't told the people that. Don't you think the people have the right to know how much the people are going to work? If they have health insurance, they're going to have retirement, they'd be able to buy a house or whatever. You need to tell the people that.
Okay, thank you very much. Demnlus Johnson.
Yes, as I answered in my previous answer, my plan to increase revenue, I just want to expand a little bit more on how to reduce fiscal dependency on a single corporation, recruit more large-scale manufacturing corporations to the city of Richmond, both green and traditional. I don't want to demonize all traditional manufacturing industry jobs because there are some that we can most definitely recruit here to the city of Richmond. Create dedicated in terms of how would I as mayor promote broader economic development by establishing with the council dedicated revenue districts, such as a convention district, such as a nightlife and entertainment district, districts that are specifically designed to provide revenue to the city of Richmond. Also, in terms of what steps would I take to financially prepare the city of Chevron were to leave? I'm just trying to answer your questions, Pastor. That's it. I would look at what's working and scale up. We have to build on things that already work before we try to bring in outside things. And while I'm saying that, I want to also use the term invest in Richmond. We have to invest in our residents. We have to invest in things that already exist here and build on those things. I always tell people, there's not going to be some great outside investment until we have a great inside investment. We have to invest in our local singers, in our local entrepreneurs. Despite what's being said, small businesses do provide most of the local jobs. So, in shoring up our economy, I'll make sure that our local jobs, our local businesses are able to hire. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, you're gonna get to go again here in a second. For everybody that's on the stage and in the room, hey, the finish line is in sight. This is the last question that we're gonna ask this evening, question number 8, and Demnlus, you will begin. This is a question that is dear to all neighborhood councils, and I'll just say for a moment here, thank you to the Fairmede Hilltop Neighborhood Council for putting this on. Arto Rinteela for working very hard at doing this, and also John Gosney put in a lot of time and effort in this. Thank you very much. Richmond has 6 voting districts with approximately 5 neighborhood councils per district. Many neighborhood councils feel that they are not being heard by the city council or our leaders. What have you done, or what will you do if elected to ensure neighborhood councils feel heard and that their input helps to shape our city council and city staff decisions?
Most definitely appreciate that question. One of the things that I like to do as a policy nerd is study some of the great mayors and things that they've done. And what I saw Mayor Bradley do in Los Angeles was the appointment of a deputy mayor. And I want to appoint a deputy mayor to be a direct conduit with the Richmond Neighborhood Coordinating Councils. That will be my seat at the RNCC. I would love to commit to say I'll be there every meeting, but I'm not going to commit and make overpromises right now. You get what I'm saying? I don't believe in lying to get the vote. So let's make sure, I'll make sure that I have someone there in every meeting tending to the issues and finding out what's going on in the city of Richmond at the Richmond Neighborhood Coordinating Council meetings. Also, me and that individual going to those individual neighborhood councils when there are major issues coming up. If you call, blood calls, blood answers. We will come. That is something that I'm extremely serious about, because one thing that I don't like with the current leadership is this whole I'm going to pick and choose who I want to work with. As a mayor here in the city of Richmond, I'm dedicated to working with every single one of you, whether you like me or not, whether you support this campaign or not. We are going to do business, and we are going to make sure that all of our communities are thriving. That's what happens when you get Demnlus Johnson as a mayor. I get a lot of blowback from previous supporters from even voting with these two. That's how serious I am about reaching across the aisle and doing the work of the city of Richmond. That's what you get when you hire Demnlus Johnson as your mayor, a serious mayor.
Thank you, Demnlus. Mark Wassberg?
What was the question again?
How will you work with neighborhood councils so that we feel heard?
What I will do is, I will have a hometown meeting once every 2-3 months. Open meeting that the community to come, and I will listen to them. Instead of having to go to the city council meeting, and you only got 1 minute for this, you can't say this, you can't say that, I don't like what it said, kick him out. That's not gonna happen with me, okay? I wanna hear from the people, I wanna communicate with the people, and I need to know what you need. We might not be able to fill everything, but I will listen to the people, and I will try my best to let the people know that we are here to help you. And there's times if I have to go over the city council and the city manager, I'll do it. If I have to file a lawsuit, I'll do it. But I want to let the people know that I'm here for you, and I will listen to you. All right? Because you think this mayor's going to go out there and say, hey, come on over, we'll have a hometown meeting. Or these guys are going to get together, hey, come on, they're not going to do it. You can't even, you try to call your representative, they don't even answer your emails. They don't even answer your phones. But if you put me there, I will listen to you and the community.
Thank you, Mr. Wassberg. Eduardo Martinez?
Yes, I have not made every neighborhood council meeting, but I do have an open line, and neighborhood council presidents have called me. In fact, they call me many times, and I answer as many times as possible. So I do have an open door, I do listen, and I try to send a representative as much as possible. If you have any concerns, please feel free to give me a call. We'll have a conversation, and let me know what you need, and I will do my best to get it to you.
Okay. If that's it, we'll move on to Claudia Jimenez.
Yeah, the good thing about the mayor is that it has a staff, and I think that you need a resident outreach that can communicate and can help communicate with all the neighborhood council. I think it's also important that I know that the neighborhood council has a budget, but we need to be serious about what is the budget that we can allocate to support the neighborhood council to do outreach in the community. And with the outreach, with the resident outreach of community organized in the office, can help also to bring more residents to the meetings. Sometimes the meetings are not well attended because a lot of the residents maybe don't have the time or they don't know new members. So making sure that we are letting and communicating with people that this is a space where neighbors can gather and be more active. Also, trying to reach out to the community organizers that are also organizing in the community to be working in collaboration with the neighborhood council. I think that is an important thing when we are moving policies or moving things, because they are great organizations here that are organizing the same community that they are part of the neighborhood council, and combining and having more active participation of meetings where everybody is together will be important for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ahmad Anderson.
Over the last 2 years, I've attended 70% of the Richmond Neighborhood Coordinating Council meetings, either in person or on Zoom. I've done that in responding to issues throughout the community. I have participated in the Marina, Belding Woods, Parkchester, East Shore, Laurel Park, Panhandle Annex, which has not been favorable to me when I run for office. But leadership goes to places, not sits by the telephone and waits for people to call. You go to places that you have not understood the concerns, but you reach out by going to them. I've been involved in preparing, as you'll know now, historical preservation in Parkchester. I've worked as a block captain, working with other block captains throughout the city, making myself known and present. Not as an elected official, but someone who cares. That's what empathetic leadership is all about. Yes, we should have more meetings to the community, but you should be doing that on a regular basis. Don't act brand new now. 80% as an HR person, most of the managers and directors I know who are most successful spend 80% in the community, not 80% at home. You need to step up and step in. In order to get that synergy of 50 to 50, you need to spend 60% here, 70% there, 80% there. But make sure folks recognize you other than the cake cutting and the ribbon cutting ceremonies. Do the work.
All right, thank you very much. Well, it was our goal to end at 8, and we're going to land this plane here in just a few moments. Thank you very much. We're going to head into closing. I let everybody say the last part, right? Yeah, I did. Sorry, you guys were looking at me, and I was like, wait, is somebody? Oh, no. So we're getting ready for closing statements. As we do that, I just want to take just a moment and say thank you to our Hilltop media crew. Yes, they have worked very hard. They're all volunteers. Thank you, everybody. It's up in sound and up in video and making sure the live stream happens and all that kind of stuff. So thank you. And again, on behalf of Pastor Jim Hedden, our senior pastor, and all of our congregants, we're just glad that you guys came out and did this tonight. So we're at closing statements, and as we close this forum, we'll conclude with your statements, where each of you will be allowed up to 90 seconds to explain why they are the best candidate and why the voters should invest their faith and their trust, put their trust in you. We will start with Claudia Jimenez.
Yeah, thank you. Richmond has been trusting me with their vote. The 2 times that I have run, I have won, one by 54% and the other by 65%. And this is a real testimony of my work with the community. We have been moving forward. The beautiful pamphlet here was made by the city manager, and you can download it and see how many things we have done. This is the time where we have our finances in order. We moved from 12% in reserve to 21% in reserve. We saved $84 million getting out of predatory loans. We are putting money into parks, renovating 3 parks right now. We moved from $4 million to payment to $10 million, and we are doing more. we put $34 million into the full renovation of the city. And as a mayor, right now, we have a great opportunity to become the city that all of us dream, with green jobs, opportunities for families to thrive here. And the thing is, who can deliver that? And I feel like I have proven that I can lead the town and this beautiful city in the next century with what I have done. So thank you, and I hope you vote for me, Claudia Jimenez.
Thanks, Claudia. Mark Wassberg.
Well, first of all, I'll get things done. If I have to file a lawsuit against the city, I'll do it. If I have to sign an executive order, I'll do it. If I have to go over to city council, so be it. But my main goal is getting rid of these corrupt cops. Our police department is, I'm not bashing all cops, but our police department is corrupt. You had the last police chief threatened to kill her daughter. I was attacked by the other police chief. You had police officers having illegal drugs. You had police officers having sex with underage women. They shot and killed Petey in cold blood. You had the city council aiding baby criminals from the law by passing this new ordinance. This is not going to happen with me. I'll make sure Richmond is going to be safe. And I'll guarantee you, I will have the Justice Department, the FBI, swarming all over the Richmond PD until they get their act together and realize they're not going to kill people in cold blood anymore. They're not going to violate our constitutional rights. You've got the city council aiding baby criminals for the law. You just remember what happened to Lake and Riley. That 14-year-old girl that was raped and murdered and beaten by an illegal immigrant that the Richmond PD is protecting, that the city council is protecting with this new ordinance. You just remember, next time your daughter leaves the house, make sure they're going to come home or they're not going to end up in a box. This is serious. This is no joke, people.
Thank you, Mark Wassberg. Next up, Eduardo Martinez.
Under my leadership as mayor, Richmond has maintained a balanced budget and improved its credit rating, increasing city staff, launched community-centered public safety programs, and created real opportunity for small business growth. As mayor, I have assisted the city manager to staff city departments to remove trash, engineer safe roadways, and prevent crime. I also supported programs to increase youth employment, decrease homelessness, improve mental health care, and reduce gang violence. I will continue to do so. So we need to keep this momentum going, reviving the port, revitalizing downtown, cutting red tape to streamline public services, and promoting the arts along with better parks and sports facilities. I would appreciate your vote. Together we can build a better Richmond for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Demnlus Johnson III.
Once again, I'd like to thank the organizers of this event and our residents for coming out and having this conversation with us tonight. As mentioned, my name is Demnlus Johnson III, and I'm a fourth-generation Richmond resident, your former vice mayor and your former city council member. The only candidate known for working across lines, communities, and philosophies, not just talking about it. The only candidate with the educational, personal, and professional experience to get the job done. The only candidate who's been elected by the entire city of Richmond, not just the district, and has adequately represented the all of Richmond, not just a select few. You guys know how these two lead. It's exclusive, it's non-inclusive. He cuts off Mia and gives other council members more time to talk that he's in line with. She only works with individuals that she likes. We don't need those type of mayors. And as for my other opponents, we don't need on-the-job training and individuals looking for the pencils on the first day. I'm Demnlus Johnson III, and I look forward to earning your vote at the June 2nd primary. Learn more and join the movement at johnsonforrichmondmayor.com. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I was hoping to keep this, so we weren't attacking other individuals, but I appreciate your passion, sir. Last up, Ahmad Anderson.
Yes, thank you for the Hilltop Community Church and for the Fairmede Neighborhood Council and the community watching and here present. Look, It's clear we need new leadership, or else we're going to have so many people running for office. We need leadership that's not just empathetic, but will do all they can do and be all they can be and build partnerships in this community. I've been capable of doing that for over 30-some years, not only here in the community professionally as an HR administrator, because that's what you do. You bring humility, you bring congeniality, you bring collegiality, and you bring a voice and a focus to make sure those who work here not only work here, but want to live here and recognize they can be safe, respected, and protected. We need to be able to provide jobs. All the things that the mayor talked about must be on a wish list because they're not happening here in the city of Richmond. As your chair of the Economic Development Commission, I've worked very hard for 2 years to try to bring jobs here to this community, to build a pathway, to be an ambassador and represent. As your block safety captain at Royal Park, I've worked with the entire city, meeting with other black captains, with Michelle Nyland and Durant, talking about how we can improve the city. And someone who can bring jobs, who's been a leader here, working with your neighborhood council, it's not brand new. And I've been to City Hall before. I can find the bathrooms and the principals myself.
All right, thank you very much. Would you join with me in thanking all these candidates for coming out tonight? Thank you very much. And just one last thing, as we sign off, I just want to let you know we are Hilltop Community Church. We have community in our name. We love our community. We pray for our community. We want to see our community thrive and be healthy and safe. And if you'd like to get to know us, we have services every Sunday at 10 a.m. and we'd love to get to know you. Thanks for being a part of this tonight.